So to start, it's supposed to work. To work, the point. Okay. Perfect. So to start, this is our agenda for today. We are going to have 3 presenters today. We have here Nicholas from the SoilTribes project that is going to give us an overview of the project. Then we have with us Armando Cruz that is going to talk a little bit about soil literacy and some examples and initiatives like Horta Harmonia, Korea Soil and Eco Project. And then at home we have Professor Alexandre Tomás from the Instituto Politécnico of Belgium that is going to talk a little bit about soil conservation in irrigated Mediterranean agro ecosystems. Then we will give you the floor to you to feel free to ask some questions, doubts. We have here wonderful speakers with us today. And let's start. So I will ask Nicholas to present himself, say a few words. Here, please. Yes.
Good morning together. Obrigado pela vossa grande hospitalidade. Thank you that we can be here. My name is Nicola Patzel from the German Soil Science Society and the EU project Soilscape. I'm an environmental scientist focused on soil and psychologist focused on human nature relation. Now, how can I switch the slides? Thank you. Yeah, if you like, you could just present my presentation there. That's another one. It's Nicola Patzel, Soilscape. That's something else. To go back. Well, I give back to the technical service and justice on your computer. And I'm so curious, you know, this maybe all of us have some well-known faces and people we like to see again and some new ones, and we'll see what happened in these 2 sister projects and other sister projects on soil and art and culture. That yes, that is it. Yeah, that's the first slide, yes. It is about literacy, soil literacy and soil culture through artistic practices and education. And well, when we looking at Portugal at the moment, we can really ask, really? Will something change? Next slide, please. Or yeah. Yeah, you are here. That is good. And one core question also yesterday when I talked with our common PO Amanda about the aims of all this project and all this money, how can our wonderful or disastrous experiences change our behavior and change our attitude and maybe our behavior 10 years later? We don't know. Yeah, and change our culture. That is it about, yeah. And our relation, not only about soil literacy, but the relation with soil and with water and with life outside and inside of us. Next slide, please. This picture I took today, and we showed a lot of pictures in our Soilscape projects to people from all over Europe to ask them for their emotions. What emotion, not bad or good, but differentiated. Yeah, a hope or distress, or which kind of emotion does it trigger with you to see this picture? And which web of association with you is visible? And you can feel it inside. What ideas on past and future of this picture appear when you see it? And we did this, and next slide, please. Yeah. Yes, this is a screenshot from our press kit for media working in the Soilscape project, where we saw which kind of pictures trigger distress and the urgent need to do it in another way, where the soil is lost and we are lost from our soil and we lose it beneath our feet, or we cover it and don't want to see it anymore. It's too complicated, guys. Yeah, let's throw it away. Yeah, let's do it without soil. Isn't it better? No, it is not. Yeah, and people don't feel so. They don't feel this way, and they don't like it, notwithstanding their professional background. Now, next slide. Here we found some pictures that triggered so-called positive emotions like hope and joy, you know? Yeah, and these are really what we are all looking for here too, yeah? To have some fun and to be reconciled, to be reconnected with nature also. Okay, these are archaic pictures of nature, of elemental nature, and of the wonders and the things that we cannot see, we cannot know. But when we have a first glance, we get curious, and curiosity triggers more. And being in touch with all senses or our inner intuition can also trigger something. Next slide. So we tried, let's don't try to read that, it's impossible. Yeah, it's only, no, it's not about reading here. Yeah, it's about a first connection with showing that different eyes and different angels and try to look from the eyes of the others. That's what we try at Soilscape too. Next slide, please. These are the different angels of all our people that are here. In this project, you have from UNESCO and the French Soil Science Society to the German ones and so on. You can take a photo if you like. I don't want to mention all in this short time here. But it is a classical European project, everybody having his own personal and national and regional perspectives and professional ones. Next slide, please. Here we organize in 8 so-called soil orchestra. Just to say a bit about the hard structure of this project, which is not hard at all, but it is a soft skill social process that is going on there. And also in Portugal, there is such an inter- and transdisciplinary workshop and network for between art people, and I mean people working with the arts by themselves, not being used as a tool by others. That's a difference. And science people and others. Next slide. Here's an example. Here's the major from a Polish city, and we have many Polish colleagues here. That is from the Polish Soil Orchestra. Thank you for your impressing things. How it is coming together there. Next slide. That is from the German orchestra. You know, coming from academia to practice is not so easy. And bridging different realms of life, also not. Next slide, please. This is here just to have a glimpse on that we worked out 3 different media kits to change the way media report and talk about soil. If something happens like a flood, this may happen sometimes. And then they say the soil was saturated, and that's all. And what about the background? And we analyzed a lot in the SoilTribes project, also in Portugal and other countries. What is the way people frame, people use metaphors, people use imaginary to talk about soil and to give a context, or to do just a blame game? And then it's no context, it's just a political game then. But we did this also for influencers, for social media, for organizations, and for mass media. Yes, next slide, please. And that is almost the last. This is here an invitation to other soil festivals that will happen. We will have a real series of soil festivals, a very different kind there. Yeah, and also in Portugal, the Serralves Foundation in Porto, and France, Angers, Pays de Loire, ça sera la prochaine. And so these 2 pioneering festivals, and next year then 8 more. Next final slide, please. Yeah. So here, how do we perceive soil? That's a question. That is a typical question we pose ourselves, but it's not the normal question of soil. Next slide. Yeah. Okay. It doesn't work anymore. Yeah, that's a typical. This was a picture of a beetle looking at us. And that's a change of perspective here. Yeah. How do they perceive what we do? And that's another question we might ask from time to time. And so I thank you very much for your attention and open for talking. Thank you. Next slide. That's the final.
Thank you so much. Now, Armando. Yes, all the presentation is going to be available. We are going to share with you all the information. Thank you.
All right, so my name is Armando, and I'll be representing here 3 different projects, 1 personal and 2 as part of Mission Soil. Isso funcionar aqui? Eu posso ver. All right, I'm just a little bit nervous. I want to start with that. No. So my background is not in soil, educational background rather. I studied in the US health and nutrition and physical education. And when I returned to Portugal a few years ago, then I started getting more interested in nature conservation and soil. So now that's what I'm doing. Next, please. Oh, the QR code that was there, which you missed, it's if you wanted to access the presentation, but the presentation will be already available. So you're welcome to see the presentation. I'm going to go quickly because these projects are big. As you already know, our projects are very intense and very rich. So feel free to use the question time or the presentation to then explore more, or the resources that we'll also be providing for you. So I am the Curio Soil Co-op leader for Portugal. I'm also the co-founder of Horta Harmonia, which is a home garden, which is going to increase in size slightly, and also the soil ambassador for Eco Soil. Next, please. So we see what's happening outside. Our previous presenter already showed a few pictures, and you've seen from your travels here, we all see what's happening. And sometimes we speak about soil, but we're not really talking about soil. So we have dirt, which is usually just the non-organic matter that exists in the soil, the silt, clay, and sand. And then soil actually is soil when we have life. And this is a diverse type of life. And I hope you can appreciate this picture by a famous, I believe, German artist, which if you look at the presentation, his name will be there. I don't know it by heart. Next slide, please. So we all depend on soil, and life as we know it these days depends on soil being healthy. And most of us have seen this picture before and have seen the ecosystem services that we depend on to survive and to live in this planet. And also our own health depends on all these ecosystem services. We are probably the only species on this planet that exists, and as it grows, it destroys more and more. Most of other species contribute to all these ecosystem services, whether it's in the soil, in water, or in air. And when these get degraded, next slide, please, we will see some of these ecosystem services getting depleted. Our water is polluted, our air is polluted. We start to see these climate sporadic changes that are very quick and unexpected. And this is all interconnected, including our food sovereignty and our own food safety. So when we are depleting our natural resources, which we all depend on, and act like we don't, we are putting our own existence at risk. So I think it's important now that we educate ourselves, create connections, become active members, go back almost, it's almost like fashion. Soon we'll go back to the bell pens again. And back in the day, we used to be nature, climb trees, actually harvest fruit ourselves. And we started to become disconnected. And technology was supposed to help us become more connected. And I believe, in my opinion, it's actually disconnecting us more. So we have to use this amazing tool to connect us back to each other and to the planet that we need to survive. Next slide, please. As we all know, soil takes a very long time to grow, to be built. And for those that don't know, but I think a lot of us already know, at least just 1 centimeter of soil, it can take up to 1,000 years to be created. And right now with these floods, we're losing that and much more in just a matter of days. So you can see the destruction that can be done in just a few days. And this is mostly due to our own actions. So us getting more educated, increasing our soil literacy, knowing what we can do, and not just by ourselves, with the community around us, we can help to build back what can be destroyed and accelerate these processes. It can take up to 1,000 years, but it can be a lot faster if we are able to apply what we know in small to large scale in order to accelerate these processes. Next slide, please. And this is what I started doing at Horta Harmonia in 2021. I came back from the US. On the left here, you see very small scale, but we start small and then we grow, right? We start locally and then we start going regionally and then internationally. So we start with this small plot of land, which then we increased to the other parts of the house, which was covered in plastic for over 20 years. And within 2 years, using composting methods and some regenerative methods, we started growing food pretty much all year long. Next slide, please. So one of the projects that I'm doing that I should be proud for, and I always have my imposter syndrome, is this coffee grounds collection project, which up to today we collected over 13,000 kilos, over 13 tons since 2021, just going from coffee shop to coffee shop and collecting coffee grounds that usually in Portugal end up in landfill, and I think it's the case for the rest of Europe and the rest of the world. So we literally have organic matter coming from thousands of kilometers away. It gets to us and we just throw it in the trash, and then can be used to improve our soil quality and improve the organic matter in the soil, carbon sequestration, so on and so forth. All those ecosystem services feed the soil life that we all depend on. Next slide, please. Also with Horta Harmonia, we do workshops. We work with kids all the way up to adults, and we also do projects like these. And my objective is to be part of a network of people, like-minded people that have an interest in doing these things because they love doing it. They don't do it just for a specific interest. Next slide, please. And this is the plot that we are going to move soon. It's been a monoculture for corn in the summer and grass in the winter for animal production. And now it's been fallow for the past 2 years. Next slide, please. And in the previous picture, you could have just seen, it was just weeds, right? But it's full of life. It has different types of plants. I'm also adding charcoal from the wood stove. I add the charcoal back into the soil, which is an amazing product. We all know about biochar, right? We don't have to go fancy creating biochar, or just use your charcoal from your own fire pit if you have one, for example. And we can see that diversity above the soil creates a lot of diversity and biodiversity below the soil that usually we don't see. So next slide, please. Oh, sorry, can you go back? On the top right corner, we can see sometimes these weeds, they have a tremendous effect on what's happening on the places that we don't see that's below the ground. They go deep. Some are shallow and some are deeper, getting nutrients and everything else from under. and they get to places where we can't get. So when we are trying to decompact soils, we usually think about tilling and everything, but the plants that we usually don't appreciate and usually kill, and many times using a lot of harmful methods, they are there to accelerate these processes of creating spaces which are essential for soil health and for these microorganisms to then continue these processes. Next slide, please. So Creo Soil is a project that I'm involved. Next slide. And it's a project of creating these connections, creating this community, and understanding what people know. What are their connections to soil, including not just knowledge, but also culturally. And this is something that we will be doing with Creo Soil. Next slide, please. We have different partners around Europe. Next slide. And some of the things that are very important with this project, one of them is the Soil Curiosity Kit. And this includes visual wikis, sound banks, where you can hear different sounds that come from the soil. And one of the things I want to mention and highlight is the activities book, which now has a different name. It's called, it's actually the activities book, sorry. And this is where we are. The first thing I'm going to ask you for a few things, is your contribution. You are welcome to contribute with experiments, with games, crafts, and also performances. So we're also promoting art, just like Soilscapes is doing, because we want to increase the range where soil literacy is reaching, the range of people where soil literacy, the range of people that can access soil literacy. So usually we just see soil literacy as like academic, or like farmers are supposed to know, or technicians are supposed to know, but we want to reach everyone because we all depend on it. 99% more or less of all the food that we eat comes from the soil. So we have to be realistic, and we have to be active members of improving soil that can be, as we see again, degraded in a matter of days or hours even. The other important thing that we are doing is collecting data on, like I said, what is known. So we're going to primary schools, secondary schools, and also general public, understanding what is their relationship about soil, what they know about soil, and then we're going to reassess again over time. Next slide, please. We're also doing national workshops because we also want to create policy change. Usually in order to accelerate change, we need to tell people what to do, or we need some sort of enforcement on things that need to be done. So we're also going to be catalyzers of changing policies, and also want to get policy changers or policy writers involved in this process. Also the educators, so we're also going to do national workshops here in Portugal, probably around April. We're going to have national workshops, one for primary and secondary school teachers, again in April, in person in Aveiro. We're inviting all, second thing I'm going to ask you, I'm inviting all the teachers and all the agrupamentos de escolas directors to come to this national workshop, which we will then give you the date soon on the social media. And we need to know what your difficulties are. We need to know your realities, so we can also then, in our main national workshop, give all this data to the policy changers, so we can give realistic a reality. What is the reality in the educational system, so we can actually have an impact on soil literacy. Next slide, please. So what's happening next? If you want to join us, we're going to have a meeting on the 3rd of March on another really cool tool, which is our MOOC, our online course. And it's going to be for educators and students. And this is where you can improve your soil literacy. It's going to be open to everyone, and anyone can participate. And the second thing that's going to be presented in this trimester meeting and in the spring meeting will be the World Soil Museum app from in the Netherlands. So if you can't go there, you're going to be able to visit the museum on your own phone or other screen. Next slide, please. If you want to get more information about the Creo Soil project, you can access through the social media or also on the website. Next slide, please. The other project is also, it's Eco Soil, and this one is more involved in getting your hands dirty. This one is a citizen science project, and it's about getting to know what kind of soil that we have. We know that we can only create changes when we know what's happening, right? There's usually a very good strategy not to create change. It's to avoid to collect data. So this is doing the opposite. We want to collect data. We want to know what kind of soil that we have, so then we can create the changes that we need, or accordingly to what we have. So next slide, please. And this is what I just said, pretty much. We are also inviting people who are interested to be ambassadors for their own country, and they will be collecting soil samples with a kit that will be provided to you, and you'll be collecting the soil structure, what type of soil it is, pH, soil biodiversity, and also including contaminants in the soil. Next slide, please. So these are the different partners of this project. Next slide. And maybe another invitation, and I don't know if we can do it now, looking at how the soil is. The idea was throughout the festival to take a soil sample, so you can have the experience and see how you can do it, and not actually do it yourself. But the conditions of the soil, and maybe some of the more experts than me can say that maybe the sample that will be take is not a realistic sample because of the conditions. So maybe it's not a good idea. We can also, I have two spades, so we can dig and see what's in there. I think observation is amazing. So if somebody just wants to dig and see what they can find, I think that'll be a good experience for us to have. Next slide. These are our social media and my email if you want to contact me with any information. Again, with the picture a little bit bigger, and over there you can see the soil that I started with in 2021 with soil that was under plastic for 20 years. You can see the difference here just in color, but right in the middle you have, the name in English is a springtail, not a springtail, you can see a springtail from like this. A roly-poly. Right in the middle of the right hand is soil that was composted and with a lot of life in the compost pile. It became a lot darker due to the worm castings, and added a lot more carbon and all the life that was gained. So let's transform soil. Let's learn together and follow what we believe in. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bruno. So now we have Professor Alexandra that is going to join us via Teams.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
So thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here with you. Sorry to be online, but it was not possible to be there in presence, but hopefully we can engage as well, even like this. So, Carolina, do you want me to share my presentation, or will you?
Yes, you can share your presentation.
Okay. Sorry, it was not this. So
Yes,
are you seeing it?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so again, thank you for inviting me. I'm going to present you with a topic that is soil conservation in irrigated Mediterranean agro ecosystems. So I know it's not a very popular topic to talk about water today in Portugal, but it's important in the same way. So I want you to think about something that is the following. So irrigation is important to feed the world, but the way we irrigate can degrade soil. So we must be Sorry, I don't know. Okay. So water is, as we know, the main limiting factor in agricultural production in regions where rainfall is not enough to meet crop water requirements, and this is more important, of course, in regions like the arid and semi-arid regions, and in Mediterranean regions with aridity characteristics, like is the case of the south of Portugal. We know that globally more than 70% of extracted fresh water is used for irrigation. It's a very big number, and if we look at the food production that results from irrigated agriculture, it's 40% of total food production, but only irrigated land only occupies 20% of agricultural land. So it's irrigated agriculture is very important to feed the world population because it's more efficient producing, of course. In the last years, there have been important productivity gains in agriculture, and these gains can be somewhat related to the increase in irrigation area. So we know that agricultural land area has been more or less stable in the last years, maybe with some little reduction, but the irrigated land area has increased considerably in the last years. If we consider the three major crop groups, cereals, fruits, vegetables, there's been a slight increase in yield in these crops globally, but the area occupied by these groups of crops has been stable. So of course, this is related to the increasing technological advances in agriculture, but also irrigation can be related to this. But although irrigation is very important to produce more food, it can be responsible to increase pressures on soil and in water resources. This is because normally irrigation is associated with the use of agrochemicals, the increase in polluting processes of surface and groundwater resources. We know that the areas at risk of degradation in irrigated cropland are around the double of the areas at risk in rain-fed land, and this is due to the increasing the pressures on soil, mainly due to some processes of degradation, like water erosion, salinization and sodification, the compactation of land, or the contamination of the soil. For example, soil erosion is responsible for the loss of 20 to 37 billion tons of soil annually in average. And this, of course, reduces crop yields and reduces the soil ability to store water and recycle it, nutrients and carbon also. There are some risk factors associated with this. For example, the increasing rainfall erosivity linked to climate change, the vulnerability of the soils, topographical situations, the fragile vegetation cover sometimes, and to inadequate crop management practices. In our region, we know that permanent woody crops are very important. We have large areas of olive orchards, vineyards, etc. And in these types of crops and agricultural systems, it's very important to cover the soil. And a good practice to avoid erosion is the use of cover crops between the rows of the plantations. The application of mulch is a practice that can also be used. And it's very important to adopt level plantings or terraces to avoid the planting following the steepest slopes. It's very important that we don't have situations like we see this in this picture on the right, the picture I took last year in a young olive orchard recently planted, where we see already a big ravine forming due to soil erosion. In the case of annual crops, one of the biggest issues is the system design, the irrigation system design. So in annual crops, normally sprinkler irrigation is used, and the most used systems are center pivots, and it's very frequent that in the terminal part of the center pivots, we have rainfall intensities that are much higher than the soil infiltration capacity. So when we design this type of systems, we must take into consideration the capacity of the soil to receive water, the soil infiltration capacity, that it's related essentially to its texture and structure, and we must choose the appropriate sprinklers to avoid situations like the one we see in the picture on the left, that leads to waterlogging, surface runoff, and soil loss from erosion, of course. Another important degradation process that can occur in irrigated lands is the soil salinization and soil solidification. So while erosion is normally visible, so we can look at the soil and identify some aspects of erosion caused by water, essentially. In the case of soil salinization and solidification, this is like an invisible threat, a silent threat, because it's not easily identified. But we know that more than 20% of global irrigated land is affected by secondary salinization, and in Mediterranean regions, around 25% of irrigated land is affected. So there are some certain factors that contribute to this, to the acceleration of these processes, namely the aridity of the climate. So situations or climates where we have annual precipitation that is lower than the potential evapotranspiration of the crops, like is the case of the southern regions of Portugal. The use of irrigation water with poor quality, and also problems of soil drainage. So to put things in perspective, soil salinization is a process that occurs when we have a concentration of soluble salts in the soil that reaches levels that put crops at harm, causing a physiological water stress. In the case of soil solidification, this occurs when the sodium ion is the predominates in relation to other types of soil cations like calcium and magnesium, because sodium has a dispersion effect of clays and aggregates, leading to structural instability and the lowering of soil permeability. And the main parameters that we can use to evaluate if we can have problems of salinization or sodification are the electrical conductivity of water and soil and the sodium adsorption rate. Here you have an excerpt of the Portuguese decree law that defines the limits of these two parameters to use to irrigation water used for EC and for SAR. But there are some international guidelines like the FAO guidelines, and one important aspect here is that even when we have low electrical conductivity of the irrigation water, we can have problems of structural instability due to sodium, because the salinity of the water will not be enough to counteract the effect of the sodium. And this effect is more intense, or can be more intense, for example, when we use sprinkler irrigation systems that can add energy to help disperse the soil particles. So we can have low salinity, moderate concentrations of sodium that at the first look would not be problematic, but when using sprinkler irrigation, this can be an added risk. We have developed a study where we studied the risk factors for soil salinization and sodification in interior Alentejo, mainly the region surrounding the Alqueva irrigation perimeter, and identified as risk factors the type of soil, the aridity index, the slope of the land, the soil drainage class, and also the irrigation method used. And when combining all these factors, we obtained risk maps for soil salinization and soil sodification, and identified the areas that were more at risk. For example, in the case of soil salinization, of course, low slope areas with restricted, moderate to restricted soil drainage, in soils rich in clay, like alluvial soils and vertisoils, and with a land cover predominantly with temporary annual crops and olive groves, were the areas with moderate to high risk of salinization. In the case of sodification, again, low slopes, moderate to restricted soil drainage, soils rich in clay, so fine textured soils, temporary annual crops irrigated by sprinkler or surface irrigation were the ones that we identified as being at moderate to high risk of sodification. So what can we do, or what should we do to protect the soil against these types of process in irrigated lands? So we can act at a regional level, at irrigation plan level, mainly planning the land use, planning the water and soil resources, but also at the farm level, essentially by maintaining favorable levels of salts in the root zone to avoid salinization and the effects of excess of salts. And to do this, we can use leaching fractions, adopt appropriate irrigation strategies, use field drainage systems, select tolerant crops or varieties, utilize appropriate fertilization strategies. And it's not written here, but be aware of the design of the irrigation systems and irrigation management. So thank you for your attention, and I hope this shed some light and to the work that we need to have, and the attention we need to have in regions where irrigation is a very important factor. Thank you.
Peraí, já deu.
Hello, everyone. I hope you enjoyed all our sessions, and we'd now like to open the floor for questions. If anyone wants to ask anything to Nicola, Armando, or to Professor Alexandra that's online, feel free. You just have to raise your hands and we'll give you the mic so the people at home can also hear. Yeah. It's already on, I believe. No. No? Okay. Okay, now it's working.
Hi, hello, I'm Alessandro, nice to meet you. First of all, thank you for the amazing speech, was really inspired, and I was intrigued about the merge between arts and performative arts with soil literacy and soil advocacy and awareness. So I want just to ask you if you can maybe give me some examples about how you did that already and how you plan to do it as well in the future and in the short period. Thank you. Well, for both of you, because for what I see, you both do these merging activities.
I need to speak on this machine because of the online people. So if not, I wouldn't do. Yes, that's a question. Oh, shit. That's the question, indeed. The crucial question that what you asked about. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, because if you are a scientist and you do soil communication for 20 years and nothing happens, it occurs that you'll be a bit frustrated. Yeah, and nobody wants to look at your tables and your charts. And then, yeah, you ask maybe there are people who move other people, and these are called artists. Let's ask them to help us a bit to convey our soul messages. Yeah, and then I say what they have to say. Oh, but they don't like it. They don't like it this way. They say, no, we are artists, Yeah, we're not scientists, and we don't pretend to be scientists, and please do you not pretend to be artists, yeah, and so on. And then there an exchange happens, yeah, and that's where we are in, that we really try to come to the level of experience, something that cannot be described in the terms of science, that goes beyond it, that is before and after. Just that is this thing here, addressing human wholeness, human inner world, human psyche and soul, and spirit within, and all this, yeah, and changing consciousness maybe then, yeah, also. And if you look at examples, yes, we will be curious to see what really will happen in these festivals. But we did a 2 million euro call for artists and communicators that already finished, with people winning that and others who did not win, but they want to do it anyway by alternative funding or something like that, on performing arts, for example, that is embody soil animals in their theater plays or something. That's a shamanic enterprise. Or with arts that work with nature directly. Land art maybe, also art with natural materials. And then maybe You know, sounding soil is more than sounding soil. You can put a micro into soil and you hear the sounding soil. Okay, that's done. You can repeat it and that's nice, yeah? That's a sounding soil. But you can also try to let the elements of soil sound, yeah? The wood, the stones, the metals, and these things, yeah? And then you come into a dance with nature, and that's something else. And that's a process. And with all these things, we are in between of personal encounter and development, social experiences, and cultural change. And that is a huge task, and it starts with us. So if we are not ready, if we are not open for this, we cannot talk to others about, or it's a bit, you know, they smell it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I can just add something real quick. We are social beings, and usually a strategy for you to learn something or for you to remember something, even if you're going to do a speech or if you're trying to study something, it's to create a story. So usually with art, especially performing arts and theater, you can create stories, you can demonstrate stories. We all remember something from a movie that was special to us, a message that was like, aha. So art can be impactful in a non-academic way, in increasing education, increasing literacy about something through stories, through something more than sitting in a class without moving, without talking, and just absorbing information, which most of us cannot do. So the other way of doing it, and to reach a wider range of a public, is through stories, through art, that we, as social beings, as beings that also like to celebrate, which is, it's super important for projects to also celebrate, and using art to do these celebrations and to these other type of methods of learning and absorbing information is a beautiful way of doing it. Art is beautiful. Soil is beautiful. We just have to see it through different lenses sometimes.
I think. Let's see.
Hi, my name is Ruta, and I have two questions. One for you. Did you work with farmers? Do you work with farmers or students to become a farmers, also to help them to focus better on the soil and the challenges that they face, how to deal with the soil challenges? And the question to Professor, maybe this question is stupid, but still, is the water they use here in this region is taken from the ocean and adapted to use? I'm asking because it's the question of the salinization, where does the problem comes from? Thank you.
So I'll go in order. I think you said your question was about how we engage farmers, or how do we? I wish I did more. I work more with the regular public, but I think we need to work more with farmers. We need to listen to farmers more and bring them to these places, because we need to know their reality. Us sitting in the office, us sitting in the classroom, we can have all these ideas, but will they be impactful for here, for the north of Portugal? There are different realities, so we have to have local meetings to try to solve local problems, and who more than the ones who are in the field doing it and going from sunrise to sunset, working overnight and going through difficulties. I think they are the best ones to create these solutions, and we can guide. So I think these places need to be multicultural, but also with a wide range of a diversity of people, including the ones who are doing the work, so we can have more impact, more real impact, and more realistic. Does that answer your question? No. Okay. She said no, for those who didn't hear it.
My question is, have you already done it, or you know how to approach the farmers or the school for farmers?
I've tried. It's very difficult because they're very busy. So I think if we create the spaces, and unfortunately, maybe sometimes you have to go door to door, and then the word of mouth travels. We have to first create the spaces for them to be present.
So,
Yes.
I don't know.
Doesn't-
The next question was for me, right? About the salt in the water.
It was
No, we don't use ocean water. No, we use fresh water, but we cannot use ocean water. Fresh water, even with low quantities of salt, can damage crops, because those quantities of salts, even with low concentration, will accumulate in the soil. And this occurs year by year, and this accumulation can lead to problems to soil and to the crops.
Well, yes, just answering your question, personally, I have experience with about 1,000 farmers for processes talking about soil and behavior and science and cultural things and everything. So it's farmers of very different backgrounds and kinds. And so, no, it's what they say, and they say it also in our Soilscape project. Some we spoke with, yeah. Stop following a top-down approach. Stop teaching us this way. Start talking with us and asking us about our perspective. Come to an equal thing, yeah, of exchange, yeah. And of course, they want to have some new perspectives and things and talk about their real problems. Of course, yeah, and they profit from that, yeah. But on the other way around, I've learned so much from farmers, yeah. The practical thing, the human dimension, yeah, of farming, and of course of the soils as they are, and the high pressures as they are. And that is a big challenge in all these EU projects, to talk about people without talking with people, yeah, and to tell we have to teach them, yeah, and not to say we may enter real dialogue, yeah, and it's really, yeah, they're not paid for the hours they spent in a Zoom session there, yeah, so we have also to find different formats with farmers and with other people, yeah, and this is so key, that's so crucial. And you know, they are very frustrated by media. And they say it also in Portugal, for example. I take this, yeah, and they say every time something happens, we are blamed, yeah, for being the bad guy, yeah. And others, we don't want any more of that, yeah. We want to be taken serious with our problems, but then that people look at our context of our natural, cultural, socio-economic context of our work, and what you have to do as EU politicians or EU or national administration with all that. And then we come to another kind of system analysis. And I hope really very much that what we started also in this tiny little project there can continue and also give a good feeling to some people from farming that it's worthwhile to collaborate with strange guys like artists and scientists, yeah, and to have really a joint human process, not only on the knowledge, but also on the experience level. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to see if anyone else has any other question. Do you have? If you have, you just need to, okay.
Hi, Seda from Turkey. I would like to get your opinion. If I think louder, there is the owner of the land and different levels of people who have responsibility environmentally or as human beings. And if you think all those actions, all those awareness raising activities and all kind of those projects, and imagine I'm a person working in a plaza, go to my work every day, living in an apartment. And so I would like to get your opinion about what would be the concrete or practical or solid outcome after these actions. I see like there is a gap in between those actions and the real outcomes that those people can do living in the city, because I mean, in different regions in Europe, not all the people are living on land, not all the people have so much connection with land. Imagine this modern life of human beings, you know. What can we do as practitioners? What is your opinion?
What kind of practitioner are you? Sorry.
Well, I'm chemical engineering in my background, but I'm not doing chemical engineering. I have a consultancy business working in social projects and social impact analysis, outcome analysis, and impact assessment. So I'm much more related in the concrete outcomes, and you know, I try to design social projects, social programs, and then measure the impact.
You may come to the point of social art, of the art of steering social processes with people where they are really living and outside of their living places too. Yeah. You know what you ask for with this detachment from nature. Since industrialization, we had these movements. Every 20 years, there's a new one. Yeah, garden plots, community gardens, tiny gardens, market gardens, peri-urban gardens. Yeah, all these things. Yeah. Community-supported agriculture, all that is longing to the same point of reconnection of urbanized people with their nature and following their longing to do so. Yeah, so that's that is a proven thing, and also intercultural integration can happen in peri-urban areas, in urban settlements with difficult socioeconomic conditions. Yeah. Growing vegetables there is a real thing, yeah, really, and so on, yeah. So there you are, and the other thing is, of course, the mindset of people, yeah, and to accept it first, you know, not to say you have no, well, yeah, you have no hunch, yeah. And I can tell you, accept the mindset, and then you will find it, and then you find other things with people too, and then it can go on. And that's on the interface of psychology, social and natural science too, yeah, or these approaches. And we should discuss more in depth in another format. It's not yet here in the forum here, but I mean, that is, we are part of a recurring cultural need to find ways of dealing with your question, and that is key, because 1 or 3% of European people are farmers still, and the others are not. No farmer would win any election anymore. So that's also a political issue of highest importance, yeah, to find new alliances of values and political forces within government and outside government, and so on. Yeah, and that is a democratic movement even needed to come to open up your question from the narrow what can I do, man, to what, yeah, and self-empowerment together. Thank you.
If I can also add real quick, us living in suburban or peri-urban areas, we all eat, right? We all make choices in how we eat, so we can make a change through the choices the choices in how we invest our euros, right? So what kind of product do we buy? What kind of farmers do we support? Do we do our homework and who we are supporting? A lot of us want convenience, and usually our food choices are the ones we invest the least on. And our own health has a tremendous value to our own well-being and to our own survival. So we maybe should focus a little more, investing a little more in the food that we eat. And also, like we were doing with Creole soil, understanding what do people know about soil health and the food that they are eating. Maybe we're starting, we already know this, but we are getting disconnected with the food that we are eating. People, when we go on vacation, where we want to go? We want to go to nature. We want to go walk in nature on the weekend. But then during the week, we're disconnected. So we need to connect more with nature. We need to connect more with food. We need to understand where our food comes from, how it is grown, create a relationship with farmers. Go back to the local markets, please. Buy directly from the farmer. Get to know your farmer. You can ask him all the questions. You don't need to read it from a label or from a box that gives you only a specific amount of information. So act locally, learn, be humble, let's get connected back to nature and to the soil and to everything that we depend on, including our food. So that's, I think, what we can do with our usually for the most of us who are the privileged to have 3 choices 3 times a day, have the choice of what we are eating. That's one of the big ways that we can have an impact. I don't know if Professor has any ideas. Alexandra.
Oh, I totally agree with you. Yes. So people should be paying more attention to what they eat and to the products they eat. And there are some interesting things that are being done today. For example, I will give you the examples for products of Alentejo. So there are, for example, for wine and for olive oil, there are already certification of sustainable production. So consumers can, when buying local olive oil or local wines, they know, looking at the bottle, they know that it was produced in a sustainable way. So when choosing, we should, if possible, always choose products that are produced in a sustainable way, because sustainability in production, of course, includes the actions and management that protect the resources, like soil, of course.
Okay, now it's working. Okay, so we are about to finish, so this will be the last question. We'll leave the floor to Tomas, and then we will go for a very short break to continue. Thank you.
Tomasz Podkański, I'm from Association of Polish Cities. We, as an association,
Come here. Come just.
I'm from Poland, Association of Polish Cities, and I would like to say that in Poland, I would like to support Armando's examples. A certain number of Polish municipalities is already supporting consumption, or rather supply side, by purchasing food for kindergartens, for welfare assistance centers from organic farmers, by using in the tender procedures coefficients that in fact value much more organic food, certified organic food, as my predecessor said, rather than the price. Therefore, by working on this supply side, creating conditions for organic farmers to have a market for their products, which are obviously more expensive for consumers, we can support the entire movement. And cities like Rybnik, currently Grodzisk Mazowiecki, are supporting this type of approach. Other municipalities are supporting local markets development, so that basically the process is ongoing. Obviously, we are at the very beginning, but we are going in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the questions. Sorry. We are going to take a very short break, but I want to ask a few people to meet me and Carolina outside for some logistics. So I'm going to call your names. I'm not sure if I'm going to say it correctly, but if you hear something that resembles it, it's probably you.
Aglaya Manzana, Anastasia Kalitz, Armando Cruz, but then I'll talk to you, Armando. Barbara, Bernardo Giorgi, Leila Arsan, Julia Sergian Pietri, Lilia Serrano, Marcin Mironiuk, Marcin Stansky, Marco Benedetti, Monica Mironiuk, Nicola Patzel, it's here, okay, Alexander Bondar, Pascal Del Gaudio, Pietro, and Irina, Olga, and Sibel, Ruta as well. We need you to sign this. And for the people that don't have the bracelets yet, we also ask you to come to me or Carolina, please. So Aglaya, again, Lilia, and your family. That's it. So now for a 5 short minute break. And next we're going to have the grants presentation. Thank you very much.